Okay, hey guys, so this is a part list on Pcpartpicker of the parts I used to build this computer. And for the most part, I basically got the parts. I picked the parts in this list that I put in the computer, but some of them were unavailable, such as the motherboard. So I had to put something equivalent to that, which was the ASRock 8320M HDV Rev 4. So let's start with the top with the CPU, Ryzen 3 2200G. It seems more than enough for this build at a really good price. They were selling this for, I think it was like 90 at B&H Phone and Video, so it's pretty good for a 4-core, 8-thread processor, and it's pretty good for games, not gonna lie. But if you were going to play Call of Duty, Warzone, or Modern Warfare, it's actually always at max CPU usage. So opening up other applications is a bit tough. And again, that game is pretty demanding, but I was able to run it with at least like 100 frames on optimized settings. Okay, so the next part is the motherboard. This is equivalent to the one I had. The one I had was basically a gigabyte 8320M S2H board, and it's a pretty good board. It was like this. I had like I think it was an 8-pin connector, AM4 socket, 2 DIMM slots, and one PCIe 16 slot and one PCIe 8 slot. But the 8 slot was under it. I don't know why the orientation on this board is like flipped. It's kind of weird because it pushes the graphics card lower. And then the Gigabyte board also had a M.2, and then the SATA ports weren't as nice as this board. So yeah, the board is alright, but they say they boast the audio, but it's not that good in my opinion. So if you are building a computer this cheap, I suggest you save up an extra, let's say $40-$50 to get you like a nice external sound card or an amplifier or something, so your audio will sound good if you do care about that, right? Okay, so the next thing I put in that computer is actually an 8 stick of RAM. It's the Gamix. I don't know exactly what model, but I think it's like Gamix something. It looks basically like the G-Skill Ripjaws 5, and it's 1 8 GB stick of DDR4 2400. And it was like CL16, 16, 16, 16, 36 if I'm not mistaken. And the reason I got one stick instead of two sticks is because one stick gives you the potential to upgrade in the future. Because if you have two sticks of two 4 GB sticks, then you cannot put any more sticks out. You just have to take your old ones out and buy two new kits. But let's say if we have one 8 GB stick and we have one free slot, we can put another 8 GB stick in the other slot. So that'd be easy. And it was also at the speed of DDR4 2400, and I overclocked that to DDR4 2933, which was actually pretty good. And it did help a bit in games and opening apps and stuff, so that was a bonus. And it did have a nice red heat spreader like this. And the next part is an ADATA SSD. And I did have one left over from my personal PC as I upgraded to an NVMe drive, and I can tell you it's way faster than solid state. I mean, a regular SSD. And a reason I got it for pretty cheap. I just put it at like, it retails for like $52, but if you look in the used market, they go for like $30-$35. So I just put the price in at 35 because I was just taking it from my computer, so I didn't directly have to pay for this computer. And next part is the graphics card, and the graphics card is a Sapphire Pulse Radeon RX 570. This actually, I had the 4 GB card, but I might have accidentally selected the 8 GB card. It's the literal same card. This is probably one of the most expensive variants of the RX 570. Nonetheless, it's the best cooled version. I have had like 4 or 5 of the I think it was XFX card, like the one, the black card. I'll flash an image on the screen right now. It's the black card with the red fans and stuff, but the cooler was really, really small. I mean, not the cooler. The fans are big and everything, but if you look at the actual heatsink, it was really tiny. And that's what was annoying to me. I was like, is that really going to hold up after hours of gaming? Let's say, like, you're running a little or slight overclock on it. I don't know if it's going to hold up that well, so I decided to get a better cooled version of the card, which would suffice for a longer period of time and wouldn't have any issues, hopefully. And I did pay 105 for this with the 4 gig variant, not the 8 gig on Mercari, and it was a pretty good deal because it worked perfectly. It was packed well and everything, and the guy gave it to me pretty brand new. He said apparently he just got it, he didn't like it. Alright, so the next part is a case. This was brand new, just like the motherboard, and this is the Cooler Master Box 320L. So this is a ARGB micro ATX case, and this fit the criteria perfectly, right? I wanted to get RGB, but I didn't want to spend extra for it. I wanted a micro ATX chassis, not an ATX mid tower, because ATX mid tower chassis are a little big, and then I just don't like how open it would look with a micro ATX motherboard, a relatively small graphics card, small CPU cooler, and yeah, you know what I'm talking about. It would just look really empty and cheap, right? So what I decided to do is look, and after a few days of hunting, I saw this. It actually restocked the day I bought it. There's only 2 left in stock when I purchased, and it's a pretty good case. Only 2 front ARGB fans, which is enough. I did have an extra 120 mil fan, so I just stuck that in the back, as you can see in the build. And it does have a tempered glass panel, side vents, and the front of this is acrylic, but this is a version, I think it's like the MB311L, and that has a mesh front. But I was like, the side vents are enough. Like, how much more do you need? It's not choking the fans at any point. So you have your audio, video, and 2 USB. But what is it called? The nice thing about this case is that if you don't have a RGB controller or header on your motherboard, and I didn't, because a motherboard that's only $50, I'm not expecting it to have all these features, right? And I was really surprised that Cooler Master included an RGB cooler for this. And I mean, RGB controller, what am I saying? And you can actually wire that up so that the reset button controls it. So usually the reset button would restart your computer, but if you wire it correctly like the instructions said to, you can actually change the RGB modes of the fans with the reset button. And that to me was pretty cool. Like, that just made the case an even better deal. I just clicked out of it by accident. It's a pretty nice case. You can see the layout. It's not that bad. It came with like 4 thumb screws for the glass panel, nice large air vents on the sides, and it was nice. I didn't actually see the top dust filter. I didn't see it in the case. The weird thing is, when you buy this case, the top dust filter, the magnet filter right there, is on the right side side panel. So once you take it off, it's stuck there, and I never noticed it. It's probably just too focused on building the PC. I was like, oh, they were too cheap to include one. It wasn't that big of a deal for me, but just nice to note that they did give one. It was just hidden. And the last part, I did get this brand new too. Newegg had a sale on these for $32, and if you check right now, they're probably going for like, not this exact model, it's probably out of stock. 400 watt power supplies going for like 45, and that's insane because I guess it's like the tariffs or something, which made the prices of power supplies and PC parts in general just skyrocket, because they're all built in other countries and shipped to the US and elsewhere, and they're also designed there. I mean, I don't know where they're designed, if I'm being honest, but they get them from like other countries, right? And importing them to, especially to the US, would cost more since the tariffs, right? So they have to increase the price on the products to compensate for that. And Newegg was nice enough to have a sale on these for $32.99 each, and I did manage to snag 2 of them because I needed one for another build I was gonna flip. And these are really nice power supplies. You do have the ketchup and mustard cables, a little hint of blue and green and purple. They were basically just zip tied together to like so the cables wouldn't come apart. I just added some extra, and it's nice that it's 80 plus certified. I had no issues with these. I bought 2 of them straight from Newegg. Both of them work perfectly, no issue. Even under max load, like at overclocks on the 2200G and the RX 570, it did not shut down. It's a really good power supply. I didn't expect any more or any less out of this, so it performed just as I intended it to, and the overall cost of all these parts at the prices I paid, remember, not what you can buy today, but if you do a bit of hunting, you will be able to find it for this much, was $386.98. and that's a really good deal because like new, these parts would be a lot more, like let's say almost $500, or maybe definitely more than like $500, maybe like 500 and something like that, right? But these only $386. That's really cheap. Let's say the new iPhone doesn't even cost that much. It costs more than this, right? And that's really good for a PC that you can play all your games, you can edit all your videos, you can do whatever you want on a PC for this. And it's not a cheap last gen PC. This is current generation AM4 socket, DDR4 RAM, clocked to pretty high speeds. So you're not missing out on anything at all. Even with an SSD, it's superior to a console in that way. So yeah, alright, thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys later.